I'm Dylan.
And I'm Morgan, and we're the Timmons family. We have 2 children. We have a son whose name is Rylan, who attends Hope Kids. We also have a daughter named Madeline, and she also attends Hope Kids.
We are originally from Illinois, but I joined the Army and we went to Fort Carson, Colorado. We stayed there for about the last 10 years, then moved here in 2022.
So we met in high school. I remember meeting Dylan when I was at the YMCA, and then Dylan was working out because he was joining the military. We have been attending Hope for almost 2 years. Dylan actually found out about Hope through jiu-jitsu, which is one of the things that he is really passionate about, and he met Drew Howard through that.
Yeah, I remember it was my first day at the gym here in Anderson. And I talked to Drew a little bit. He introduced himself. I introduced myself. I told him I was moving here, and he said, welcome to God's country.
Before we moved here from Colorado Springs, we were not a very faith-driven family. We really had attended church maybe one time, but we did have a very important figure in our life. So our son has a lot of behavioral needs, and he has had them his whole life. Rylan was kicked out of preschool settings. He's had a hard time in elementary school. We found Luann, who Rylan refers to as Meemaw, and we found her when Rylan was 2, and she just spoke the word of God to Rylan every day.
Luann was wonderful. She spoke with Rylan about God all the time, and I remember after he was there for the very first day, she was like, I got to pray about this one, and she accepted him, and every time we left her house, it was always, who are you, Rylan? And he would, stand up, put his arms up and say, I'm a mighty man of God.
She was also the person that bought him his very first Bible. She spread his gospel everywhere that she went, with no reservation. I would say that life before Christ, we definitely were very, self-motivated. We
never had enough. Even when we weren't really walking the way, they say standing at the door just waiting for you to open it. Mm-hmm. Looking back now, I can see that.
Yeah.
Really, everywhere we turned, he was there trying to get us to open the door, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Over the last 2 years, having been in Anderson is kind of where we've taken that leap into trusting Christ.
My mom had planted seeds. I never we didn't go to church. I know, on Christmas and Easter, those were always a big one where we would, at the time have to go to church with her for that. The older I got, the more I would kind of start, praying and trying to talk to God the best I knew how. I truly didn't understand what it was or what it meant to walk the way. I would tell myself that, once I stop cussing or once I stop drinking for good, I was trying to make myself perfect for baptism. When I decided to get baptized, at first I was waiting to be perfect, but Pastor Mark was going through his sermons on how it's a gift and you just have to accept the gift. So after that, I made the decision I'm going to get baptized. Then Morgan, you followed.
Several months later.
Sure.
I went into church that morning knowing that it was going to be a baptism Sunday and feeling really excited to see everyone that was going to take that journey. That sermon that morning just spoke to me. I went out into the lobby and I talked to Pastor Nathan and I said that I wanted to do it. I did it that day.
It was very powerful,
It was very powerful. And for my kids to witness that, it ignited something in them. So our marriage has changed in a lot of ways. Obviously, Dylan and I have been married for almost 12 years. We've been together for over 14, and we've grown a lot. We're both very tempered people, and I feel like we both have found more emotional stability in the Bible.
It's provided us with a really strong foundation. I would say that fulfillment is the best word to use. Prior, there was just a void that no matter what we did, we couldn't fill. Nothing was ever good enough.
I won't say that our kids are the most well-behaved, but speaking truth to them and speaking, the light of God, they yearn for more information, and so there's lots of heavy conversation. Our son, he is known for asking the most intense questions. He really questions things that make us question.
And when it comes to discipling,
our children.
That's one thing that I really try to guide him to being able to, trust God.
I think it's important to also think that our children are also discipling us.
And another way I try to think of it is that, Rylan, he's not just my earthly son, but he's also my brother in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when we really started trying to walk the way, my prayers started shifting from wanting things, I guess, to, Father, help me lead my family.
And I'm sure that there have been lots of signs in your life that he is there. You just have to accept those signs as being from God. It's not an easy journey, but it's one that's worth it.
If baptism is something you want to do to show people and, scream from the rooftops that, I love you, Jesus, and I have faith, then I would say do it.
If it's something that you're on the fence about, then you've obviously already thought about it. All of the groundwork is done for you. It's God's way of telling you that it's your time and that you should take that next step.
He's waiting.